Well, I thought they were moving ahead of me, and I was wrong. Okay, I'm not in no man's land. Made it across, still moving. See, as long as you're crawling across, you're not blocking the intersection. You're just crossing the intersection very, very, very slowly. This down here is just a right old mess. They've got a traffic light down here by the highway, and what they really need is a ramp for people coming south on the highway to come west on this road, and then they could get rid of that traffic light. They even moved the last house here on the left even got moved, presumably so a ramp could be built, I suppose, at some point. But and there's construction going on in there now, but it's got nothing to do about a ramp, that it's just for the water line. So that's kind of a bummer. So this is my first time out with the webcam. Just noticed the red light is flashing. I guess I'm just like wondering, oh, does that mean it stopped recording? I don't know. I think I've gotten the settings to where I want them, but we will see. It's got a maximum video length of 10 minutes. I wonder if it'll just seamlessly go on to the next clip. That would be nice. It would actually make your footage easier to assemble if it's in 10-minute clips anyway, instead of just one great big chunk. I always love driving videos on YouTube. Some of my favorites are Freeway Jim, Freeway Brent, Trans-Canada Phil. There's probably some others, but like I can't remember everybody off the top of my head. Freeway Franks is pretty good. I'm not gonna be like doing like a big music production thingamabob. Probably not even gonna speed up the video. Here we go, onto the highway. 102 North. sure that I'm watching the road and not the dash cam screen. Although I suppose you could sort of drive using the screen, but no, that's not advisable. I don't think it's probably some latency too, so probably not a good idea. This is kind of a pain, this interchange. There's all kinds of weaving going on here all the time, because you've just got that on-ramp and the off-ramp right away, so that's not very good. And it's a major interchange too. It's two 100 series highways, 102 and 101. And now we're going under the Bedford bypass, for which there's no direct access from the 102, which is a pain in the rear. If you're coming from where I live and you want to go to Dartmouth, you either have to go into Sackville and then turn around, or you have to go through Bedford if you want to get to Dartmouth, which is really kind of lame. And, you know, we've got crazy alphabet exits. 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 4C, 4H. Say they should go kilometer-based exit numbering, really. Eventually, when they expand the 107, this will be how you connect to it. Over here, there's a little bridge that they built. This bridge that we're going to cross is just a bridge over nothing right now, but eventually, if they do connect the 107 directly to the 102, there'll be a ramp going under here. Right now, I'm headed for the Bedford Sackville Walmart. It's in Bedford, but it used to be in Sackville. So it's the Bedford Sackville Walmart. One thing I'm going to look for in the Walmart is SD cards. This webcam takes full-size SD cards, up to a maximum of 32 gigabytes. Hopefully that gets you some decent recording time. We'll find out. But they're reasonably inexpensive nowadays, so I'm going to see if I can, at one of these stores, get a bunch of them and stock up for a next big road trip. And I'll have someone to talk to. I'll be able to talk to you. That's great. That'll keep me energized and alert. So I'd like to listen to music, but then I'd probably get into... YouTube is really good about hunting down music clips and disallowing the audio to be played in the video, in the entire video, not just the offending part, the infringing part. If there's a content match with a publisher that doesn't have an agreement with YouTube that permits it to be used anyway, or they'll where they might run ads on it or something, and the original publisher of the music gets the revenue. Okay, I think this is a good option, because nobody's going to be able to park to the right of me, Well, hopefully nobody will jam a shopping cart into the right of me either. But I think this is a good option. I'll see you next episode. Okay, I found these 32 gig guys at Staples here for $17.92 before taxes a piece. Right, $17.92. I could probably find something cheaper online, but I wanted them right now. I'm crossing the country soon and might not have time for things to get shipped to me. So I bought three 32 gig cards, so hopefully that's enough for a full day of driving. So let's take her back home. Oh, neutral. That won't do any good. Let's try drive. So this is the Bedford Staples. Bedford Sport Check, where you go to check to see if you're sporty. And losers don't shop at Winners. Only winners shop at Winners. It's Donald Trump's favorite store. And we're coming up to Get Smarsh, Pet Smarsh. Now, if you're taking a driver's test, and you're starting off in a mall parking lot, obey the stop signs. You'll fail the test right away. Just because there's no cops and it's not a public road doesn't mean that the stop sign doesn't have legal effect. I think technically, you're not allowed to, you have to wear your seatbelt and you're not allowed to drink even if you're driving on private roads that have not necessarily even any connection to the main highways, the public roads. I don't think the law makes a distinction, but you may want to check on that yourself. But there's very few checkpoints along private driveways, but just bear that in mind anyway. Let's go back to Bedford. Do I have enough time to get over? Yep. Not cutting in front of anybody. Okay. Maybe one of these days I'll make it onto Bad Drivers of Nova Scotia. I think it's Captain Schmidt who does those. Go to school up here. Up here on the right you see the sign that says Rocky Lake Junior High, but it used to be Charles P. Allen High School. Somebody's trying to contact me. here on the right was the old Bedford Junior High, formerly Sydney Stephen High School, which is where my mom went to high school, or one of the places that she went. And here we're driving on the Bedford bypass again. No connection between this road and the Bedford bypass, but that's probably just as well. There's enough traffic on this road as it is. Did you see there on the right? I don't know if I have my camera far enough over to the right, but there was one of those right-hand drive trucks from Japan. And that one was a little blue one. It wasn't the little white ones that you usually see. So this is trunk 2. The old road up to Truro. Of course, we're going south on it, so. And we're coming down to Sunnyside Mall. And this is one of the more unique intersections in town. So this is the Bedford Highway we're coming onto, which is also trunk 2 going south from here. But if you turn right, it's trunk 1, and it's trunk 1 all the way. You can follow trunk 1 all the way to Yarmouth on a bunch of different roads. And it becomes the 101 if you just stay on the main road. That was kind of iffy. I maybe shouldn't have been going through that yellow arrow, but I know the guy behind me definitely shouldn't have been going through the yellow arrow. This is often backed up coming through here. This is the Bedford Highway. Up on the left is Dartmouth Road, which is the way to get on the Bedford bypass on the other side. So it's the way that people in Bedford go to Dartmouth. And it's, you know, it's not so bad for people in Bedford, but can I get around here? Yeah. But for people who live on the other side of Bedford, they have to get around Bedford somehow. Yeah, this is normal. Lots and lots of traffic. So when I'm going to Dartmouth, unless it's like early in the morning or something, I will usually drive around Bedford. I'll actually dip my toe into Sackville just a bit so I can take the Bedford bypass. But I probably shouldn't be saying that, because if I say that, then other people will start doing it, and the effectiveness of my secret technique will diminish when it's no longer secret. So, okay, everybody else who's watching this, forget I said anything and keep driving through Bedford. Thanks! Okay, that was a refreshing little stop. I had a double cheeseburger, and I ordered it through the kiosk, which is a lot of fun because you can customize it and you can take your time. You don't have to worry, you know, because there's usually nobody behind you when you're ordering at the kiosk because they've got so many kiosks, and you're not holding up an attendant going, I think, you know, you get a chance to really sort of peruse the menu. So I get a double cheeseburger, and you can customize it. It's another good thing about this kiosks. And like I get mine with lettuce and tomato, but I don't get mustard or ketchup. And it tastes pretty good. And I try to avoid mustard and ketchup because they've got added sugar in them. And what else? Okay, so and I also got a iced frappe, which are really good. The last time I was here, I ordered an iced frappe, and they gave me one of those Oreo coffees So that's not a nice frappe. Anyway, this time they got it right, and but they didn't give me a straw though. I had to ask for one over the counter, and there weren't straws over at the drink station. So wah, first world problems. Anyway, good experience overall. So let's get going. The ultimate would be to also have a dash cam behind me. Not for, well, I suppose I could also use a backup cam. I don't have one, but in this car. But more for, you know, if somebody backs into your rear bumper, you know, you have or somebody rear ends you with the front of their car. You'll have that on video maybe. So that's the ultimate. There are some people who run dash cams on both sides of their car, both ends of their car. But really, I think the manufacturers should build it in and just have, because they all have these like around view monitoring systems. They should just have them recording all the time, and then if people want the footage for some reason or another, they can just get it. I know there's like privacy concerns, but it's like the advantages of having such a system, I think, outweigh the privacy disadvantages. But speaking of privacy, I mean, I have to fret about every boneheaded thing I do when I'm driving. I mean, I'm not a perfect driver by any means, and so now every one of my goof ups and foibles is now going to be on YouTube forever. So, you know. So if you go up here, it eventually does a sort of flyover onto the Bedford bypass, and you coast down the Magazine Hill into Burnside, but that's not where I'm going today. So on the left there was the Bedford Public Library. It's not the only thing in that building, but it's the main thing in the building. And I'm just going this way because I really didn't want to do a left turn onto the Bedford Highway, and plus it's just a nice little drive. I should actually drive Shore Drive. That would actually be worth doing. I don't know if I have enough time on the video, but it's kind of interesting. There's like lots of hills, and it's narrow, and there's huge houses. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll try it. See, we'll go until the video runs out. You got the stop line so far back you can't actually see when you're stopped, so then you gotta crawl forward. Maybe they design it that way to make sure that people actually stop. Because I mean, I suppose, you know, the temptation is to, if you can't see anybody coming, then you're probably just going to roll through. Why bother actually stopping? I think we kind of have stop signatosis. We have way too many stop signs in North America. It's like everything, stop sign, stop sign, stop sign, stop sign. You could do a lot with just yields, or not even any signs at all, theoretically. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to turn the camera a little to the right, because it's not really, you don't really get to see much on the right side of the car. There's always a Mustang parked there, just on a little bluff. park. Of course, the way the camera's oriented now, it looks straight down the road, which is probably the best for, I mean, that's where I'm looking, where the car's pointed, but the camera's field of view is a lot narrower than my field of view, and also I can glance and turn my head and everything. So yeah, this is the, if Bill Gates lived in Bedford, he'd live here. And sure enough, there's a town car behind me. One of the rims doesn't match though, so it's probably not really a high roller. Park on the right. It's an interesting path through the woods, and then you just come out on some rocks and you can look around. It's a nice little journey. Not much in the way of parking though. I guess you'll have to park on the street. Not really a problem back here. You can see that Mustang out on the little bluff. Use that Admiral Cove Drive there on the right to get back to Dartmouth Road. There's also like a interestingly named Golf Links Drive or something in there somewhere. There it is, Golf Links Drive. Those are some nice houses. Nice little docks and decks. Now, of course, a lot of people also want to avoid the Bedford Highway. I'm not the only one, so now we have these speed humps. Down in the South End Halifax, I heard a friend tell me that they had problems with sign theft because they have these multi-way stop intersections, and under the stop sign it says how many directions are involved. So, and then there's all these, of course, all these speed humps. So you can sort of mix and match and get a sign that says, get a pair of signs that say 3-way speed humps. Fort Sackville Road. I think the Fort Sackville Elementary School is up there somewhere. this is the rail bridge, and there's two, like, it's for 2 tracks, but only one of them exists now. They took out, so it's a single track from Halifax to Truro. There's probably some places where, you know, a train can lay over by the side and another one can go by, but it's mostly one track. Oh, how the mighty cities have fallen. But I guess, you know, the train just isn't as economically critical as it used to be. Otherwise, we'd still have 2 tracks. And it's the same thing with the train to Cape Breton. That's going to Posh. But, you know, it's just not economically necessary. Not that there aren't, like, businesses and stuff that depended on it, but it's not feasible for everybody together as a whole. My friend remarked about this sign. It says Bedford Players Community Theatre, but there's like a 1888 number. So that makes me think maybe it's an answering service. Not that, like, they're, like, going national and that, you know, they, you know, really needed a toll-free number. I think that probably just came with their answering service. That's my guess anyway. You should probably ask them. So now we're back on the Bedford Highway. Hopefully most of the chaos is behind us. Oh, I spoke too soon. And on the left there is the, I guess, well, it's a building that's made to look like a train station. I don't think it's like the actual old train station building, though. There's no commuter rail or anything in Nova Scotia. You know, like maybe 3 days a week there's one train to Truro, and like it's a train that keeps going all the way to Montreal. So you can take it just as far as Truro if you want to, or the other way around, but it's not really convenient. There's a bus service, Maritime Bus. Runs reasonably frequent service. But it doesn't extend as far as Acadia Line service used to. So up here on the left is the old Bedford Fire Station. There's a new one that we'll be going by in a bit. Taz Records on the right. I've never been in there. Last time I was in that shop, it was a computer store. Oh, and there's Meadowbrook Drive. That's kind of an interesting drive. It's like one big... It's a big hill. My mom used to live on it. And up on the left, well, I guess you can't really see it from the cam, but it's now a kickboxing circuit for women, but it used to be Video Difference. They used to have 2 locations, one on Quinpool Road, the one with the classic sign, and then they had this one here in Bedford. And they were the home of a 7-night video rental. Ooh, wow, we lost 7 nights, you know. This was before Netflix, or even Netflix by mail. It was a good place to rent Super Nintendo games back in the day. I would often rent Super Nintendo games for a week. The only problem is sometimes I'd rent a game that wasn't very good. And, well, there we go. I just blew my allowance on a game I don't like to rent it for a week. A prime example of that was Sim Earth. I did not... I think I may have also tried SimAnt. Like, they're just not nearly as fun to just pick up and play as SimCity was. But you think, oh, it's a sim game. Oh, it must be fun to play. No. SimCity for Super Nintendo was a lot of fun. Just a great game. It doesn't hold a candle in terms of complexity to SimCity 2000, but or its sequels, but it's just a lot of fun. They just made a lot of little clever touches to it and really polished it. Even one of the quote-unquote characters from SimCity actually makes a cameo appearance in a Zelda game, Link's Awakening. So that's how popular SimCity was. Okay, so we're going to turn off Trunk 2, Bedford Highway, and we're turning on to Highway 213, the Hammonds Plains Road. I guess it's classified as a collector highway. They've got like a brown rectangular sign. But there's a lot of variation within trunk and collector highways. There's some collector highways that are as good as some trunk highways, and there are some trunk highways that just are like, wow, this is a trunk highway? Really? On the right, there's a Brookshire Court, and there's a private grade school there too. So of course, there's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of cars driving their kids to school, and it's just a pain in the rear because they're located right by the interchange here, and there's cars like, going the way opposite to me will be making a left turn, and they can. Fortunately, you can sort of like drive around them on the gravel, but it's not very elegant. And you see a nice long line of cars. This is the same problem I noted when we first got going, but it gets worse as the day progresses, and the line goes on and on and on. I mean, this hasn't even really solidified yet, but it's gonna get worse. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. The line can sometimes go like clean through this intersection and up even to the lights, and even a bit beyond sometimes. It's just ridiculous. Now this is Giles Drive, and this used to be the Hammonds Plains Road way back when. It was even the Hammonds Plains Road again for a little while because they were detouring while they were blasting up there on the main road, and making it wider, lower and wider. Anyway, but this used to be the main drag from Bedford out to Hammonds Plains, and so then this just got left as a remnant, and most of the people on it were named Giles, so it became Giles Drive. finished back out on the Hammonds Plains Road again. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this first drive with the dash cam, and hopefully there'll be more drives to come. Take care.